Goodbye, Yaya. Hello, Usua. When autumn appeared in Gandia, the beach was deserted of tourists. Most hotels, as well as restaurants, beach bars, and other amenities, closed their doors until the following spring and summer. The place that until then was full of tourists, bustle, noise of small motorcycles like mosquitoes during the night, music, and so on, began to contain a silence that turned the place almost into a ghost town, where only the murmur of the sea breaking on the shore and the wind howling through the empty streets became the soundtrack of autumn-winter, where the nights came earlier and the humid cold crept into the bones. Having no hotel to run there, the hotel firm that employed Carlos assigned him to another hotel in Benidorm, Alicante, where tourism does not disappear in winter due to a milder climate than that of Gandia, although they are only 71 kilometers, 52 miles apart. Perhaps the fact that it is farther south, or its location, means that the cold does not take over the place so much. Also, a high percentage of this tourism is based mostly on retired people from all over Spain and, of course, British tourists. All of them fleeing from the merciless cold from which they come. We arrived and were initially installed in a room in one of the hotels run by my husband. It was a minimal expression of a room, where our bed and the child's crib barely fit, with a bathroom that was also small, and this room was separated from the rest of the rooms in the hotel. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner were made at the hotel, except for some days when perhaps we went to a restaurant in the area. The situation of living and feeling alone all day did not improve. On the contrary, the fact that Carlos did not run one, but two hotels at the same time in different parts of Benidorm complicated things so that both Aitor and I could enjoy his company. The volume of tourists in Benidorm is always very high. Overbooking in hotels is our daily bread, and the different problems that can arise in each hotel only multiply the time to dedicate to a job like this. Not to mention the usual meetings with the heads of the company, the workers, and the travel agents of the groups that arrive. A point in my favor is that Alicante, where I always spent my summers and where my grandparents and uncles still lived, is only 45 kilometers from Benidorm, and this allowed me to spend time with them if my husband had excessively busy days or weekends, although he also came with me sometimes. Without going into many more details of what we experienced in Benidorm, at some point things got complicated with that company. The stress became more unbearable every day, and in the end, we returned to Zaragoza, to our beloved home. Although in a previous chapter I commented that Carlos had lost his job at the Romareda Hotel in Zaragoza, it was not like that. It was he who decided that he wanted to look for new challenges and enter the world of hotel system management. Let's just say that he gained a lot of experience and did his job very well, but at some point everything started to weigh too much, and we decided that directing under that pressure was not worth it. Thanks to God and to the director of the Romareda Hotel at that time, Mr. Roussel, Carlos was able to return to work there again. This time with his experience as head of reception, which, although also with a lot of responsibility, offered a margin of more free time and relaxation. By December 1988, Carlos' family, specifically his sister and her husband, welcomed a new member, the first girl in the family. she would be named Eider. That made Carlos and me feel encouraged to look for the couple and, if possible, give Aitor a little sister. 1989 was also a sad year for my family and me. My paternal grandmother, who by then had been in a nursing home for a while, died at the age of 73. My poor grandmother had been dragging dementia for years, specifically since after my husband and I got married. Her symptoms were increasing by leaps and bounds. I was sure the day we went to her house after the birth of Aitor, because he was her first great-grandchild, and when she opened the door of that house that I had known so well, she did not recognize us. She invited us to pass by as if we were visitors who were coming there for the first time. She did not understand what we were explaining. I seem to remember that that day was the last day I saw my grandmother alive, or rather, the last day I saw my grandmother, period. Sometime later, my uncle, her son, took her with them for a while because she could no longer live alone. But in the end, they couldn't take care of her, and they ended up taking her to a nursing home. My father, also her son, refused to visit her, and only my mother went and stayed with her some afternoons. My mother, who was rarely treated well by her, was the only one who accompanied her in those days when she descended into the madness that would take her to the grave. Ironically, the only one she never forgot was her beloved son, Vicentin, as she called him. He was the only one she asked for insatiably, and of whom she commented to my mother when she visited, "If my Vicentin knew where I am, he would come to see me." Poor thing, how wrong she was. And so, in June 1989, she died alone and abandoned in a city residence, where no one went to see her anymore. She had come to that place from a better residence by my uncle's accord, without anyone else in the family knowing about it. If I had known where she was, she would not have died alone like a dog. They also buried her next to my grandfather without telling us anything. My mother found out when she saw the sign "Closed for Death" in the bar that my uncle ran. He came home and told my father, who phoned my uncle and confirmed it. For some reason, my uncle wanted to give him the wrong time of the burial so that my father would not go. But for some reason too, my father arrived earlier and was able to attend and see her one last time. Family dramas that I never understood. By the time she passed away, I was working again to help with our expenses, because with Aitor growing up, another salary was necessary. I started working in a famous department store in Zaragoza, although it has since disappeared, Galerías Primero. There I met great people, but among them stands out the one who still stands out today. After 36 years, is still one of my few best friends, Silvia. Younger than me, but no less responsible and experienced, she taught me many of the things I needed to know to develop my work there, which consisted of being a cashier, and that years later, until today, I continue to practice. The two of us created a wonderful and loyal friendship where we would share very good moments, a lot of laughter, and also a lot of tears on her part and mine. Silvia had, has, and will always have my love, my support, and my respect, a lot of respect, especially because her friendship has not been diluted over time or under the pressure of horrible things in our lives. Because she has always respected me too, and has extended her hand to me when I have needed it without asking for explanations and without judgment. In that June of 1989, when my poor grandmother had just found rest in that niche next to my grandfather in the Torrero Cemetery in Zaragoza, life made its way back to me, announcing that my future girl was on her way. The new decade that was about to enter will bring another gift from heaven, and it will be called Usua.